Hi there, this is Andy Carrera with episode 3 of looking at Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board's Learning Management System D2L. We have a course loaded up here on the screen. It would be a standard course that you'd get with ministry content that is dumped from the Ontario Educational Resource Bank, or OERB if you're familiar with that. Now the screen that we're looking at, it is the teacher's screen, and what you have here is a whole bunch of widgets, and one of the widgets is the content browser. The content browser displays all the units and course information that is dumped from the OERB, whether they are published or not. Now what published means is that they are live to a student, versus being a draft where they are not visible to a student. So we can see that content regardless of its status of being live, or shall I say published, or be in draft form. So if we take a look at if we made the student login now, what they would see is this. And you can just go up to your the bar up here to your name, and you can select to view as student. This will give you the student view. And this is quite handy because at times we do things on the learning management system, and we're just wondering, did that show up? Is that is it going to show up the way I want it to show up for the students? And this is a good way to check that. So while it loads here, you'll take a look you'll see that the content browser is going to be empty because nothing is published. Everything is in draft form. Yep, and there you go. There is no content to display. So that's what the student sees. They see this page and there's no content. So we need to give little Johnny and little Susie a lesson, content to view. So what we'll do is we'll go back into our regular view by clicking the X here, and it'll take a second. And when it pops on up, what you can do is just hit resources and go to content. There we go. Just takes a minute here. There we go. So once we're in the content page, again, just like before, you notice the modules here. We talked about these being modules. And you'll notice that the modules are all in draft form. That means the unit is not visible. Now, just a word for a quick note here. You'll notice that you have all your lessons or content. It's in draft form. Even if these are published, even if they are blank or they say published, which means they would be live to the student. If this tab up here says draft, or it says draft over here, it will not display. This is the master draft button for the unit in this case, or as I like to refer to it, as the modules. So we need to go make some content active. So we can take a look here, and conveniently everything's under unit 1, all this information, and you're probably wondering, just like I did when first logged in, was making heads or tails of this. Well, what's unit 1? What's activity 1? How does this all make sense? Well, let me just give you a very quick rundown here. Everything between activity 1 and activity 2, all these assignments, or all this content, all this data, all this information is part of activity 1, and it goes in that form. So you'll see activity 3, everything above it, to activity 2 is activity 2. You get the picture. So what we'll do here is we're going to be selective of what we choose. Now, just because we select, now pay attention to this, just because we select something as and make it published, and we leave other content as draft, does not make it inaccessible to a student. All it makes it is visible as a button to the student. So, and I'll show you that in a second. So watch this. I'm going to load in some content. I'm going to make the activity 1 setting the stage. I want them to see what the activity is about. I'm going to load some content. Well, they need something to learn. So we've got the content, and I'm going to publish that. And well, I want them to do the assignment. So they're going to have the assignment. So there we go. I've just published those 4 things there. I do want them to use a rubric, but I'm not going to publish that right now. And there are a couple of forms here, and there's another rubric for another assignment that's in there, and I'm not going to publish that either. And I'll show you why in a second. So we are going to then make this, remember what I said, you have to make this published. We're going to make the unit published. So here we go. So it's up. And we are going to click on our nifty little tab up here that says BOH4M, and this will take us back to the teacher page. Now, remember what I said. We made it those tabs there. When we click published, makes it visible to the student. When it's draft, it's not visible to the student. We'll go up here to student view, and we should have, when it loads, only unit 1 visible to the student. There we go. Unit 1 is up. So now I click on it, and you'll see the content that is visible to the student self. And you notice here, one is still bolded, and the rest are not bolded. When a student goes in and they click on one of these tabs or one of these links, it removes the bolded content, basically telling students that they've already visited it. That doesn't mean they did it. It just means they visited it, and that's something for them within their browser. So here is all the content, right? So I'll let you peruse the content in your own course, but I want to show you what I meant about the rubric. So there was no rubric here, but we do want our students to look at the rubric. It's a link inside the assignment, and even though it's in draft form, they can still access it, right? And same with, remember, the expectations and the content about what the subject was. Well, they're all links here, right? They're all links, and they can access the expectations, even though we did not publish it. It's still accessible from this little web page, because it is essentially a web page. So they have all their assignment here, journal entry options, and lo and behold, here's the rubric. And if they click on the rubric, it pops it up in a separate page, and voila, they have their rubric. And there you go. So you can see now how to set up your course and organize it in such a way that the students are not so bombarded with various different tabs. You can select what they view. All right, and that's about a wrap for episode 3. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.